Hey rockers, back again for yet another rock and roll tale, and tonight we're going to talk about the Plasmatics. Yep, back by popular demand and many requests, I have another tale about Wendy O. Williams and the Plasmatics. This is a good one, my friends. This is going back to 1987 when the Plasmatics got back together and went on the road to support the Maggots album. Yeah, it's a very overlooked album, and many people that do know about the album consider it their favorite. I can't say which is my favorite, but I love the album called Maggots. It's right there over my shoulder, actually. My friends, we couldn't wait to see the Plasmatics. We had seen them before, but it had been a few years, maybe 4 years. So my friend Kevin Brashear and I hit the road from Peoria, Illinois, which was about an hour and a half away from Champaign, Illinois, which was a great college town with lots of concerts. And Mabels In Champaign was a super small club. So we were like, wow, we get to see the Plasmatics in this small of a capacity. We drove down to Champaign and we decided to ingest some of the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. You know what I'm talking about. So Kevin and I were there. We hung out before the show. We saw some people we knew from Peoria. It was cool. The place was packed and there was excitement in the air, and we started to, well, the Lucy in the Sky with the Diamonds, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds started kicking in, and the band hits the stage, and oh my lord, what a completely killer show. This was a lineup of the Plasmatics that was different from what I'd seen previous, yet there were some familiar faces. Of course, Wendy O. Williams was still fronting the band. Rest in peace to Wendy O. Williams, who did pass away April 6th, 1998. She will never be forgotten. She was a great person who I was lucky enough to correspond with by phone and postcards and letters. But tonight, we were hoping to meet the band after the show. Stick around to find out if we did. And also, my friends, please consider subscribing to my channel to help me get over the 2,000 mark. That'd be awesome if you would do that. Thank you very much. And if you like the video at the end, give it a like and maybe leave a comment. Well, Wendy was on vocals, but also on guitar that night was the legendary Wes Beech, who had also, of course, later on been in the band Shock Treatment. He was with Country Bob and the Blood Farmers, the Accidents, the Wendy O. Williams Band, and he's the only member of the Plasmatics that had something to do with every single record they ever played, including the Wendy O. solo material. He helped on all of them and played on most of them. What a guy. Wes Beech, such a legend. Also that night, Michael Ray was on guitar. Talk about a shredder. Woo! He played on the Maggots album, the Wendy O. Williams' first solo album, and Commander of Chaos. This guy actually tried out for the band Kiss to replace Ace Frehley. Don't know why he didn't get the gig, but he did try to replace Ace Frehley. And also, he played lead guitar on 4 songs on the Kiss Creatures of the Night album. If you didn't know that, now you do. Also that night, Chris Romanelli on the bass. Wow, what a legend, man. That guy played on Metal Priestess, Coup d'etat, and the Maggots album. And also, he wrote the music for the song The Damned, which was in heavy rotation on MTV back in the day. What a great video. You remember that? The video where Wendy O. Williams is on top of a school bus. She's actually driving it, climbs out onto the roof as it's going very fast, and goes through a pile of TV sets. She jumps off of it right before it goes through a big pile of TV sets and everything blows up. What a stunt woman. She went on later to walk on airplane wings while they were in the sky with no safety net, walking across the wings. They called it wing walking. Wendy was a legend. Also, Chris Romanelli did play keyboards with the Plasmatics briefly in 1983, and he's now an attorney. Wow, talk about flip-flopping your jobs. It probably pays better than rock and roll. Right, Wes? Some people are in it for the money and some people aren't. Apparently the Plasmatics weren't, because from what I hear, they put most of their money back into their shows. And I know for a fact Wes Beech is in the rock and roll for the rock and roll, not the money. That's why he's one of my favorite rockers of all time. And on the drums, Mr. Ray Callahan, who also played on the Maggots album, a very, very fast and furious drummer. And he unfortunately passed away in September of 2023. Rest in peace, sir. Wow, the show itself. Like I said earlier, it was completely packed. There was a small stage that came up to about my waist. You could get right up and close, right very close. As a matter of fact, during the show, there was a certain segment of the show where Wendy O, who was wearing a pair of shorts and some kind of bra and her tennis shoes, she put her legs out in a seductive fashion over the monitor while she was singing, and some happy-go-lucky idiot in the audience decided to take his hands and start going up her legs. She didn't take kindly to that, and I saw her kick this guy right in the face, and he backed off real quick. You didn't want to mess with Wendy O. Williams. No, she wasn't your average run-of-the-mill girly girl. Trust me, she was just a badass. The band was killer, like I said. Wes Beech had long blue hair. Everybody in the band had long hair except for Chris Romanelli on the bass. He's the only short-haired guy in the band. But Wes looked so cool with his long blue hair and his flying V guitar. It was awesome. Wendy O was so energetic. The whole band was all over that stage, constantly running back and forth. It was wearing us out, and we were like tripping heavily and sweating, because whenever I did that stuff, I would just sweat. My whole head was full of sweat, like it was just out of the shower wet. People were headbanging and trying to slam dance, but you couldn't really move. But we were all like pumping our fist in the air and singing along to all the songs. It was incredible. I do have the set list coming up for you as well, which is very amazing, by the way. Like I say, they were mega energetic. Michael Ray was just shredding on guitar along with Wes Beech, and we were blown away, man. It was so energetic and killer. We were just in heaven. It was so close up. It was like from me to this camera, just a few feet away, guys. You could reach out and touch Wendy, but I didn't do that. I think I did give her a high five once, but didn't dare touch her legs. What was crazy, though, man, is during this show, these guys were killer, and I was snapping away photos. I got a bunch of great photos, including at one point during the show when the band did the song Sex Junkie, Wendy O. Williams had Wes Beech on her shoulders while he was playing guitar, carrying this guy when they did the little change after the initial song. There's a crazy little change that's kind of fluid and trippy sounding. During that part, Wes was on Wendy's shoulders, and I have a photo somewhere, but I think it might have burned in the 2020 Alameda fires. Lots of my stuff did. Well, most of it did. But hey, I got my memories, man. I'm going to give you the band set list and then tell you what happened after the show, which was really probably the best part of this story. The set list did consist of, can you dig this? From the Maggots album, they opened the show with the song You're a Zombie, and thanks to Wes Beech for providing me with this set list. You're a Zombie from the Maggots album, which came out in 1987, the same year of this concert. Then they broke into A Pig is a Pig from Beyond the Valley of 1984 from 1981. Wow, that was a sing-along and one of my favorite Plasmatic songs of all time, by the way. They did Day of the Humans next from Maggots, another heavy number, and then Destroyer from the same album. Then they went back to the first album from 1980, New Hope for the Wretched's Squirm. Gonna make you squirm. That was so killer, man. Then they went into Brain Dead, another heavy tune from Maggots, the album. After that was Living Dead from the New Hope for the Wretched album, another great sing-along. Propagators was next from Maggots. Wow, super intense. Sex Junkie, another one of my favorite songs, which I actually did a cover of with Bloody Mess and the Scabs on our Hungover and Stoned album. They did Sex Junkie, and that's when Wes ended up on Wendy's shoulders. It was super cool. Butcher Baby was next, also from the first album, New Hope for the Wretched. Then the band left the stage, and we were like, it's over? No, it can't be. We're tripping. And guess what? Nobody stopped clapping at all. And they all came back out. And when they did an encore, it wasn't just a song or two. It was a bunch of songs. Master Plan, come on, Say No More, right? One of the very coolest signature Plasmatic songs from Beyond the Valley of 1984, in which on that album, original Alice Cooper drummer Neil Smith plays drums on that album. I actually interviewed Neil and Wendy and most of the Plasmatics, and you can find those on my other channel, The Church of Rock, all one word. They did Party after that from the WENDY O second solo album, Commander of Chaos, released in 1986. Then they broke into the Motorhead classic, No Class. What a killer cover. We all know that Wendy and Lemmy were friends, and of course at one time the Plasmatics released a 7-inch with Motorhead in which they all switched members and did Stand By Your Man, the Tammy Wynette classic, and they of course did Master Plan, I believe, and No Class, which was killer live. I mean, super thunderous. That was from Coup d'Etat, the album, 1982. Then they went into Work That Muscle, F-U-C, you know what, That Booty, from Commander of Chaos. And then they did a big finale, and it was over. The band left the stage, but it wasn't over because we wouldn't let them stop. We kept cheering. We kept going nuts, and no matter what they did, no one was leaving that club. And guess what happened? The band came out again and did a second encore. And they did not just do one song, they did two more songs. They came out and did Black Leather Monster, another Plasmatics classic. I can't wait to cover that one. Am we doing that one? I'm not sure. But I know Wes Beech and I right now are working on a brand new Plasmatics tribute with 4 Plasmatics covers and 2 new originals. Stay tuned for that. And we're working on the Wax Fruit video, me and Wes, in which T.C. Tolliver plays drums as well, from the Coup d'Etat album and more. And then, of course, after Black Leather Monster, which was a sing-along, God, what a great tune, they broke into Goin' Wild, another great song from Wendy's second solo album, Commander of Chaos. Now, during this crazy, insane, fast and furious, and super headbanging punk rock metal show, I was taking pictures like a madman, right? Some of them didn't come out. I had some great ones of Wendy, some great ones of the band, and then all of a sudden, the show was really over this time. Everyone filed out because everyone was sweating buckets and they wanted everyone out. I was like, we're not leaving. So we waited, they all left, they tried to get us out, and then I went to the backstage door with my buddy Kevin, and I looked at my camera and I was like, I didn't save any film in case we meet the band. I was completely devastated, my friends. We walked up to the backstage door. There was a big guy standing like this. He's like, get out of here, go away. No one's getting backstage. I said, come on, man. Nope, get out of here. I go, look, tell Wendy Bloody Mess is here. He goes, what? I go, tell Wendy she's expecting me. Please tell her friend Bloody Mess is here. That's my name, man. The dude's like, very reluctantly opens the door, says, there's some guy out here named Bloody Mess. And I hear WENDY O. Williams' voice saying, what? Get him in here. And that was it. He opened the door and said, come on in, guys. And me and Kevin were freaking. We were tripping, man. Literally. Well, we walked in the backstage. It was super, super small. What we saw was the entire band getting toweled off. WENDY O was in her robe. She walked up to me and gave me a huge, good hug. That was amazing. Getting a hug was better than a photo to me, although that photo would have been nice. What we saw also was Rod Swenson was in the room, the guy that started the band, the mastermind behind the whole thing, the guy that wrote the lyrics and the concept for the band, and the guy that was kind of with Wendy. He was a genius that later on went to be a professor at Storrs, Connecticut College. What college was that? I can't remember now. Stanford? I think it was. Anyway, they were very kind. We got to meet everybody in the band. They had a big plastic garbage can, the kind that you would put a kegger in high school and then put ice around it, right? But this big plastic garbage can was up to like my waist or higher, and it was full of ice and drinks, including a lot of Heineken beer. And I remember they said, hey, help yourself. And we both grabbed a drink, and it was so rad because we were sweating. We needed the liquids, right? So we sat around and did some small talk with the band. When that happened, we brought this book out, Your Heart in Your Mouth, which is a very rare book about the first 4 years of the Plasmatics. This thing is not easy to get, and when you do get it, you won't get a copy that's like this, because this, my friends, is autographed by every member of the band that night, including WENDY O herself, Wes Beech. Let me see, do I need to flip this like this? But this is the autographs of everybody, and right there is Rod Swenson's little autograph. He was reluctant to sign it, but he did. So we got the entire band, including Wendy, to sign this beautiful book, and I still have it in my possession. Thank you, Kevin Brashear, for the trade years ago. Even though the item I was supposed to give him in trade for this book burned in the 2020 Alameda fires, Kevin was cool about it, I think. Anyway, I still have this book, and it's one of the only things I have left that did not burn because it was always in my possession with me and never in my storage compartment. I'm telling you, that night was crazy cool. One of the best rock and roll experiences of my life. We stood back there for maybe 10, 15 minutes. We didn't want to cramp their style or be in the way. And boy, if I would have known they were going to have an after party like Wes was telling me they do after every show, I would have tried to invite myself. But the way we were looking, and they could probably tell by our eyes, these guys are on some kind of drugs. Although, I don't know if that would have mattered to the band. But I know Wendy was a teetotaler, and she wasn't the kind of person that partied. She was a health person into yoga and running and fitness, and no drugs or alcohol for Wendy, as far as I know. I know the band were kind of notorious for their after parties. Man, I still wish I could have went to that. But yeah, who wanted a couple of guys that are sitting around tripping and going, hey, googly-eyed, sweating, and looking kind of crazy. It was incredible to meet the Plasmatics, and it was just heartwarming when Wendy gave me that hug. We finally made our way out the door. Everyone said goodbye. Thank you for coming. We appreciate all your support. We love you guys. It was like we were family. That's how cool they were. And Wendy was the real deal, man. The whole band was. And I'll never get over the fact that I ran out of film in that camera, though. Would have been nice to have a picture with good old Wendy and the boys. But hey, man, I do have the memories, and thanks to Wes Beech, I got the set list from that night. That was one of the best stories ever. Again, if you guys would consider subscribing to my channel, it would really make my day. I have a family to feed, and it's one of the ways I'm trying to do that. Please be kind, subscribe, like, comment, and I'll be back in less than 24 hours with another cool rock and roll tale, and I appreciate each and every one of my subscribers. Thanks, guys. Keep it real, and keep rocking.